This is a series for financial advisors. We offer easy-to-implement marketing and practice management advice. This is the Stephen and Kevin Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 106 of the Stephen and Kevin Show. Today, we're going to be talking about Google Ads for financial advisors.
You might be wondering where the new hardware came from. We were wondering ourselves when Kevin walked in with quite the brace.
Yeah, and there is hardware inside. There's actually a rod that runs through here and some other screws and bolts and all that good stuff. And turns out I'm not a great ice skater. That's the short story.
That's interesting because when this accident happened, which shattered 25 bones in Kevin's arm, he always referenced it. I am a pretty good ice skater.
Yeah,
I'm pretty good at this.
When I was a kid, I used to play street hockey all the time, and I can ice skate and I can roller skate and I can do all of that. And I took my boys ice skating the day after Christmas and ended up shattering my arm. Interestingly enough, though, I wasn't technically ice skating. I was just getting off the rink, and I tripped over some rubber mat, and that was it.
That's all it took. Well,
that's all it took. So I'm on the mend here. Have to have a second surgery to get everything out, but feeling better every day.
Just don't travel with him because you will be flagged at the airport. They will stop him for a pat down.
They did, right? I mean, they were really, absolutely. I mean, last time I went, they asked me to take my cast off, and I was like, I have to take the cast off? And then like a manager came over and said, no, he doesn't have to take the cast off. And the guy was super thorough about it, thought I was smuggling something in there. But I will tell you this, Stephen, if you travel with Stephen and you have some sort of ailment like this, where you can't use a hand, he will carry your bags for you. And it's fantastic.
Opening doors,
Opening doors, carrying bags. Yeah, getting, from the overhead bin. It was nice.
Any way I can help, Kevin.
Yeah, it was nice.
But hey, glad to be back with all of you. Today, we are going to be talking about Google Ads. We're big proponents of it. Mm-hmm. And we noticed that when we talk with financial advisors about it, not many of you are running them currently, but we think that's something that we'd like to change.
What we love about Google Ads is the intent behind the search, right? When you're running things like Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, which we are big proponents of as well, it's a little bit of a different strategy, right? You're kind of putting something in front of someone and you're trying to catch their attention, right? And you're trying to get them to do something, go to your website or download this white paper or whatever it might be. Google Ads, it's different. The user is looking for you. They're actively seeking you out.
Yeah, I would say with Facebook and LinkedIn, a large part of your budget, and YouTube for that matter, a large part of your budget is in raising awareness of who you are and getting people to follow you and that sort of thing, right?
Sure.
100% worth it. With Google, it is, let me place myself in the path of those who are actively in the market.
Yeah.
Huge opportunity. We've often talked about, like, where would you start if you were a financial advisor and getting into marketing? We often say, well, you gotta have a good website. But right after that, let's pay for some Google ads because you're in front of the people with the highest intent.
Exactly. Yeah.
So today, we're going to be talking about, first of all, who actually uses Google to search for financial advisors.
Mm-hmm.
We'll then talk about how these ads work without getting into excruciating detail. And we'll finish with offering you 5 tips for success because we have, in fact, run a ton of Google ads.
2 quick primers before we get into today's episode. First and foremost, we do run Google Ads for financial advisors. So if you're in the market for a specialist in this area, we do it day in and day out. We can help you. Number 2, make sure you subscribe if you're watching the episode via YouTube. We're always looking to build those subscribers.
So let's get started with who searches for financial advisors online to begin with. We get that question from time to time from skeptical financial advisors who are like, who in their right mind would go online to find an advisor?
When you take a look at the data, I mean, the relationship marketing side of it is still number one, right? It's still like I ask friends and family, I ask another professional, like it's that word of mouth that really drives a lot of new business. However, when you take a look at some of our research on affluent investors, and especially those in that under 45 category, they're starting a search online. Like that's like the way that they're beginning the search. And so we started thinking about like the mindset or the different types of avatars of people who would actually begin that search online.
Yeah, and I think about it from my perspective. I have a network. Kevin, you have a network, but we're also very digitally inclined.
Yes.
So for me, although I may ultimately call my accountant, I may ultimately call a friend or another professional, what's stopping me in a matter of seconds of running a quick Google search just to see what's out there?
Absolutely nothing.
It's so natural. Right. And we do it for so many other things. Pizza places near me. There's a wide variety of reasons we use Google, and financial advisors are no different. Now, we wanted to take that a step further. We put out an article recently on the types of people who go to Google first. So we'll go through a few of those with you. I would start first and foremost with those who we term politely as freshmen. They're either new in town or new to having money.
Yeah, and there's a financial advisor that we've worked with and continue to work with for quite some time. And the guy's done a great job with organic SEO, which is a topic for another day. But he says this. He says, the people who come to me from a Google search, a lot of times they're like new to town, like you said, or they're from another country. He's like, you wouldn't believe how many doctors reach out to me from another country because they just moved here and they don't know who to reach out to. They don't know who to ask. So what do? They turn to Google and they end up going to his website and they end up converting.
Yeah. Second, we see some who are concerned with privacy.
Sure.
Privacy seekers, they don't want other people to know they have money. So they just don't ask anybody else.
Next, researchers. So think about that. We talk about DISC a lot, but that C personality, right? That I'm going to do all the due diligence here. You all have a friend, or maybe you're that person that you do all the research on everything before you make a decision. Those people, those researchers are absolutely looking you up.
It's like you go to a car dealership. If you're a researcher, you don't need the salesperson to tell you about the different options that are available. You already know about them. You already know what cars they have on the lot and which one you probably want.
And I think that people like using the sales, car salesperson analogy, but they know those people too. Like they know that, oh yeah, they've already got their mind made up. They already have the decision. They have all the paperwork with them and they're like, okay.
Do you need the brochure? No, I could write the brochure.
Exactly. Those people exist. And when they're looking for a financial professional, you better believe they do some secondary research.
Another one to point out are digital natives. Kevin, I'd say you and I fit into that category. It's just, our phones are attached to our hands in many ways. We're going to look people up online.
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
It takes seconds to do. Next would be niche needs. So maybe you have something, or your prospect has something very specific going on. Maybe maybe they're a dentist or a doctor and they want someone who knows kind of what they're going through. Maybe they're a business owner and they have something very specific that they're looking for that you can help them find.
Sure, maybe expats fall into that category as well.
Perfect example.
And finally, time savers, people who are really busy. It is quicker to do a quick Google search.
It is.
To find out what's going on. So, what we're looking for are those who are in the market for financial advisors. All of these people fit that category. When there is a need, they go to Google, they run various searches. This is what we're going to talk about next. How do Google ads work? A lot of times, like you all have used them, whether you like it or not, whether it's Google or Bing or other search engines, you're seeing these ads. So from a consumer standpoint, you're seeing these, you get them. Let's talk about them from an advertiser standpoint.
Right. So someone searches for a financial advisor and they insert, some sort of keywords alongside that search. And then you'll see some sponsored results. And that's kind of what we're talking about today, right? Or these search ads.
Yeah, today we're not talking about search engine optimization.
No.
We're not talking about how to organically rank for free on Google by having the right keywords and enough domain authority and all that goes into search engine optimization. We will cover that on another show. But today we're going to talk about paid placement, which is beneficial because it's almost immediate. It's not that expensive, and it is guaranteed. There's no guarantees with search engine optimization that you're going to be on page one anytime in the near future. You can pay to be placed in Google paid ads tomorrow if you want.
And I think that's what makes it so appealing, right? I mean, when you look at organic SEO, which we're big proponents of, and we think it's a good idea to do so, that's a longer term play. Yeah. I'm going to work on all that, and eventually I'm going to organically rank. Now I could say, yes, let's run an ad, and we can do it tomorrow. So think about search terms like financial advisor near me, financial advisor my city, wealth management for physicians. I mean, you have to think about the phrases that someone would go about searching for if they're looking for a financial advisor like you.
We'll talk in a moment about how to find the phrases that people are in fact already looking for. So this isn't guesswork. Google offers tools to help in that regard.
Exactly.
But the first step is that somebody with that mentality, I'm going to go find an advisor, and they start with an online search. They're going to type in something like financial advisor near me. Now, whether or not you appear there is going to be determined by whether or not you're currently advertising with Google. So Google ads work in different ways. If you were to open up the ads platform on Google right now, you would be shown a wide variety of options, right? It is not as if, you've never done this before, you immediately log on and you get exactly what you're supposed to do. There are display ads or search ads. There's local services ads. There's all kinds of ways to do it. We're going to give you today the simplest path forward, the starting step for most financial advisors. Now, in rank order, what's going to appear on your page, and go ahead and do it. We welcome you to multitask. Search for financial advisor near me or financial advisor in your city name. You're going to find right up top, this is a relatively new feature within Google, something called local services ads. It won't be labeled that, but you'll notice it's a headshot along with a company name and a catchphrase.
They're money. I mean, they are right front and center, and they grab attention.
Yeah, these are where you want to be, ideally, is in the local services ads. Now, you do have to jump through some hoops to get there. They want to have some assurance that you're a legitimate business with credentials, with insurance, that you are somebody they feel comfortable putting in front of someone searching for this type of professional. So Google will make you jump through a hoop or two. Totally worth it.
I did ask one of our digital ad specialists in advance of this podcast, what exactly do you need to send to Google to show up in these local services ads? Number one is a professional headshot. So you actually have to send them the headshot, a copy of their proof of liability insurance, and hopefully one that's not about to expire, right? Though sometimes we'll kick it back. They'll also need to complete an online background check, and then they'll also need the CRD SEC number. So quite a few things, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of work to get there.
It takes more than a few minutes.
Yeah.
Thankfully, search ads are available. This is the most traditional ad you've probably seen. When you run the search, it's one up top that says sponsored. Nothing wrong with these. We've run a ton of them over the years. They're perfectly good for financial advisors. They are more text-based by nature, but they give you an opportunity to elaborate a little bit more. So there's more real estate for you to show different links to your sites, different calls to action, different claims to fame or differentiators about your practice, and they are cost effective to run. So that's what might appear second when you run that search for financial advisor near me.
And then finally, you have your ads on Google Maps. So when you see that location and you see different, you're going to see it organically. Some other advisors listed. You can actually put some ads in there as well.
Yeah. So the number one placement there is typically an ad.
Yep.
So all of that stuff is doable in a short amount of time. And when I say, I tell this to audiences all the time, I say, hey, if you want immediate impact, if you want immediate people going to your website who are in the market for a financial advisor, run these ads. You could do it this week. Do not procrastinate.
It means you need to have a good website too, though.
Well, yeah, but let's not get sidetracked today. Even if you had a dumpy website, it'd still be great to have more traffic there.
That is true. But it will make you think hard about that website.
Yeah, I often tell people who come to us for websites, I say, hey, look, there's no guarantee just because you have a good website that more people are going to come to it. How are you driving traffic to it?
Actually, yes, we get that all the time. Someone's interested in websites and they're like, well, I just need to increase my conversions. I'm like, okay, well, how much traffic are you sending? Well, we're not.
Hardly any.
Yeah.
Right? But you can do that through social networks. We'll save that for another day. And you can certainly do it through Google Ads. So let's talk about what a successful campaign, how it should be built. The first thing to think about is your placement. You can control the placement on Google, and you should. It's in Google's interest to have you basically everywhere.
Sure.
And that might sound like a good thing, but in doing so, you're going to be in some suboptimal places.
It might be in an app, in
Like
some
if you
gaming app.
100%, we've
Yes,
been there.
yeah.
And they're like, you got 4,000 views today. I'm like, on Words with Friends? Is that what I want?
Yeah.
I'm not exactly in, if I'm on a game on my phone or my kids are on a game, I'm not exactly in like the mode of hiring a financial advisor coach.
Definitely not.
Right. So anyway, Google's interest is to put you anywhere and everywhere. They're indiscriminately posting you. So you don't want to choose something like Performance Max, which is their current phrase for let us decide where to put you.
Yeah.
We want to be more selective. I very specifically want to be placed in local services or in the search ads, the sponsored ads, right at the top. That's it. As a beginning step, that's where I want to be, nowhere else. So we've got to be a little bit picky as we're working through their process.
Right. It's tempting to say, you know what, I just want the maximum amount of views or whatever. It's like, no. We need to make sure that we're using the tool the way that we want to get the most value out of it.
As you're going through this process, you're first going to select your objective is, at this point, to drive website traffic.
Right.
There's 10 options. We want to drive website traffic. How do we want to do it? We want to do it through search ads or through local services ads.
The second tip is we want to think about smart keywords, right? What types of keywords do we want to be, popping up in results for? And as a good starting point, we like to think about 10, right? Like 10 keywords that make a lot of sense. Now, these could be like financial advisor near me, financial planner near me, certified financial planner. Like, again, and it could go on, but based on who you are, right, and the type of client that you're looking for, you need to really think hard about what those keywords are.
Now, one thing that's going to help is Google Keyword Planner. Google Keyword Planner will tell you the search volume and level of competition. So a search term that you might think sounds great, like financial advisor for CEOs, you might look that up and it has like no traffic.
Exactly.
I did that in advance of the call of this recording. So I know, for example, if you want to rank for that, it's not going to be hard because nobody's searching for it.
But it sounds amazing.
Sounds great.
But you're not going to get the results that you're looking for.
Instead, if you wanted to be ranked for financial advisor Charlotte, you want to appear in the top of the search results, you can do so, but it's a little bit competitive. It estimates that each click will cost you $10, right? Which is still, in my book, it's a little high by our averages, but it's still reasonable in the sense that you're getting someone who's very, very prime for a financial advisor coming to your site. It's a good deal, in my opinion. Our average, by the way, is about $5 a click.
It goes back to intent,
Yeah.
right? Like, would you be willing to pay $10 for Charlotte, maybe more of a competitive search word, to have someone who's looking for an advisor go to your website? Yes. And by the way, that's when you get charged, is when someone actually clicks on and initiates the ad.
Yeah, so when you're thinking about those keywords, you won't fully know whether or not they're effective until they've ran for a little while. All the estimates in the world aren't going to be that helpful until you've been in it for 2 or 3 weeks, a month, to where you're saying, okay, it actually cost me $6 per click. This keyword is actually way outperforming all the others, and we can take some derivatives of that.
So we're going to give you some keywords here. I mentioned a couple. Here's 10 for you. Financial planner near me, financial advisor near me, financial consultant near me, investment advisor near me, best financial advisor near me, personal financial advisor near me, fiduciary near me, which, by the way, that one actually has performed well for a few clients. CFP near me, certified financial planner, and certified financial advisor. And I had to read that list, right? I didn't have them memorized, but we have a prompter over here. But that'd be a great starting point. Like, that'd be a great 10 keywords that you want to be showing up for.
Now, Google does give you the ability to influence geography. So you get full ability to say, well, I just want this to appear for people who live in this area or an area that you target. Now, tip number 3 is to include some negative keywords. These save you some money. One of the things that happens when someone searches for a keyword like financial advisor Charlotte, it's not always that exact phrase that dictates the results that appear. So, for example, if somebody were to search for free financial advisor, that may also show up your ad might also show up in their search results. You don't want that person clicking and spending your $5 or $10 to get to your website.
These are huge, right? So you have to think about those other searches like financial advisor career. Like, I don't want that person clicking on my ad.
Correct. So there's a certain list, and you can get these from us. We'll share a few of these with you today. Things like budget, calculator, career, certificate, certification, college, tutorial, cost, curriculum, definition, anything related to those. Sometimes the best way to find those is after your ad has run for a little while, you're able to look in and see how people arrived at your ad. And if you see that a lot of people are arriving for a search term that you're like, well, I don't want that person, click the button and add it as a negative keyword. It's very simple.
Exactly. So spend some time on those. I think your point, Stephen, that they save you money is huge because, again, you're getting charged with every click. We don't want those people clicking.
So just to go back into it for a second, there's different ways to set up your keywords. You can be really, really strict that I only want people who search for, in order, financial advisor, Charlotte, but you're eliminating some similar searches that might be good for you. So we don't want the tightest of restrictions, but we don't want Google to go wild on this either. Right? So add some parameters and it will help you. Number 4, let's scale through budgeting. So I mentioned you won't know the exact fees for everything until you've ran, let's say, a $300 budget this month, and you realize that it's costing me $5 per click to get somebody to my website. You can look through and see exactly how they found you. All right, that was somebody searching financial advisor Charlotte. I'm paying $5 for this. And you make your own determination as to how much that's worth to you. Like, that's a great deal. Let's do $500 next month.
Right.
Or I can't believe the success of that. Let's go to $1,000 next month. And so long as there is enough traffic on those networks searching those terms, you can scale the budget up commensurately.
Well, you might start with something like, $10 a day, right? Or you might, and that's a common question that we get is, what is an adequate budget for something like this? And it's hard to say without some good trial and error, but you're going to want to start off with something substantial. I mean, we're not coming in here and we're saying we're spending $20 and let's see what we get. Or you're going to need to put something behind it to do some testing.
When you read articles or watch videos on how to advertise through Google, they'll talk a lot about understanding the auction process. Now, while it's possible to learn that, I'd recommend using the tools that Google provides, which say basically, you as the user, give me $10 a day and let me do the best I can in optimizing that budget. Some days you may get 3 clicks, the next day you may get 1, but over the average of the month, you're going to spend $10 a day in this campaign. So again, your budget is scalable up and down based on the results that you're getting. We actually take pleasure in raising our budget. Like the conversations that we have here internally about our own budgets for things like that, when we say let's go from 300 to 600 with this certain campaign, we say that with a smile on our face because we've seen the effectiveness of a certain ad and we want to see it happen even more readily.
We also say that after we've dialed it in. I think
Yeah.
it's like we ran in an ad maybe for a few months. We've included more negative keywords. We're learning more what's working, and then we're like, okay, I think we have it set now. We're also noticing, by the way, that we are getting some people who are calling in or reaching out to us or completing forms on our website, and in denoting Google as the actual attribution to how they heard us, and we're like, okay, perfect. Let's crank that up.
You bet. And there's all kinds of tracking. We'll save that for another segment. There's all kinds of
Yes.
tracking that you can set up through Google that'll tell you not only who arrived at your site, but did they convert? Did they fill out a form? Did they call a certain number that you've set up? There's a lot of calls to action that you can set up through Google with a little time and energy.
Number 5, let's talk about the actual ad itself, which is really, for the most part, it's about copy. Right? It's about getting the right words, the right variations of your copy up there so that you grab someone's attention. And one of the first tips that we'd offer is that you want to include a lot of the search terms in your actual ad itself, right? If it's financial advisor Charlotte, like you might want that to pop up as part of your headline for your ad.
Yeah, the headline of your ad should be as close to the search that they've entered so that when they see that, they're like, yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for.
And to go one step further with that, when they click on financial advisor Charlotte, let's say, that landing page, if it can have a header that mirrors that, I mean, it just creates this cohesiveness.
So Google's ad quality score is how they walk you by the hand in improving your ads. So when you launch your first ad, I'll guarantee it, they're going to ding you for a variety of things. They're going to say, you don't have enough site links. You could add a few more descriptions and headlines. Think about this or that. And by following their directions, you're going to improve your ROI. Right. So by following their directions, you're going to be more likely when you do appear that somebody actually does click, go to your site and take action on it.
So try different variations when you're thinking about the headline, the description, the call to action, like play with those, again, to dial that ad in as much as possible.
So this is one of those things. We talked about the difference between paid Google ads and SEO. Paid Google ads are something that you can take advantage of literally this week. And I'm not over-promising that. That's how long it would take you to get up and running with a campaign. You could get it running this week and appear for everybody in your area who are searching out the services of somebody like you. You could decide within a few months as to whether or not that's worth it for you. We're not talking about crazy amounts of money or a long-term initiative to get there. We're talking about lower amounts of money, relatively speaking, quick turnaround time. Still work on SEO. Again, we'll talk about that. You want relevant, if somebody's searching out financial advisor Charlotte, you want to have a site that's relevant to that search so that you do appear on page 1 or maybe 2 of Google. But that's going to take you a while.
It's going to take you a while once it's built. I mean, once it's up and running it's fantastic, right? Because now you're elevating in search results constantly, but we think the immediate impact is let's run those Google ads. We run them here at Oechsli all the time for lots of different keywords. We run them for a lot of financial advisors as well.
I think it's fun for many of you to see what's out there. When you search for financial advisor in your area or some, whatever term you want to be ranked for, maybe it's physician's financial advisor. Who populates? Who pays for placement? Who gets placed in the mapped results? Who places there organically? And what do you learn by what they've accomplished there? Some of them are going to be big nationwide brands.
They are.
Where you're like, oh, okay, I see why Smart Asset, for example, has that real estate in almost every case. Good, but there's also some local financial advisors who are placing themselves, and you could too. Now, one thing to think about for the Oechsli program, again, we hope that you can take action on what we've covered today. We don't want to hold you hostage. We've given you everything we could. But if you need help with that, our services are very reasonable, and we help you with two things. Number one being that we're going to run monthly Google Ads. We're going to do the setup of the keywords, the negative keywords, the targeting for you, and get it dialed in for you, right? So that in and of itself is worth the fee. We also work on the Google Business Profile. Google Business Profile, you all have one, but most of you have not filled it out very completely. It's a place where you would get reviews if you're open to that. It's a place where you would show the details of when you're open, how to reach me, some articles and posts that you could put out there. The more complete it is, first of all, the better impression that you make when someone does Google your business, but also the more readily you appear in those mapped search results. A lot of times that's what dictates whether or not you appear there organically, aka for free. So we work through all that for you. That's why we have ad specialists here at Oechsli, and I hope you'll take us up on a consultation for that. But
even if you don't, we think you should. We think this is money well spent. Even if you figure it out on your own or you use another agency, the intent behind that affluent investor who's looking for you is huge. And research again shows that the younger generation, like they're starting that search online, and we expect that trend to continue. And again, you pay to play, absolutely. Have a good website, but start reaping some of these benefits that, we're working with advisors every day. We're getting phone calls or, and reaching new prospective clients through Google Ads.
Yeah, don't let this intimidate you technology-wise. It's a lot to absorb. I've ran personally a bunch of these. Kevin has too. And that still, when you go through that process, there's a lot to absorb, a lot of options. Leverage us for that. That's why we have digital specialists here on our team. We do two things for you in that program, by the way. Number one is running these Google Ads. We select the keywords, the negative keywords, the geography, all the bells and whistles that make these things work, all of what we covered today. But secondarily, we set up and manage your Google Business Profile. So this is, let's say you were looking up Marco's Pizza locally. The first thing that you're going to see there on the right-hand side beside the map is their business listing. You have one too.
Yep.
You just may not have taken the time to modify it, adding in images of your business, reviews if you're comfortable with that, phone numbers, hours. There's a bunch you can add to it. The key here is not only does it make you look more professional, it makes you appear more readily in those mapped search results. So take us up on that. At least have a conversation with us, see if we can help. We appreciate you being here with us today. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.